Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. As you know, we are studying the very important chapter of NCERT, that is how do organisms reproduce. Generally in the junior classes you have already studied about the reproduction. So without wasting much of time, let's start it. Here we are going to talk about reproduction. How do organisms produce? Okay, reproduce. So different types of animals and plants have different methods to reproduce. So here let's discuss about them. First of all, we will talk about what is reproduction. Okay, what is reproduction? Then reproduction means to produce a new generation, or we must say to produce a new generation or to produce new offsprings of the same species, okay, which are physically independent of their parent. Okay, what is reproduction? Reproduction means the production of new generation, the production of new generation means offsprings of the same species, which are physically independent, to their parents. Okay, so reproduction means to produce a new offspring, to produce a new individual of the same species which are physically independent to their parents. Generally reproduction, here we are talking about the reproduction, so it is of two types, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Okay, first of all let me tell you, here we will talk about asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. Okay, asexual reproduction means the type of reproduction in which the particular, I must say, the new offspring is generated or is produced without formation of gametes, okay, or without the fusion of gametes, without fertilization. Okay, so here let me tell you what is asexual reproduction. Now we will talk about them in detail. Asexual reproduction. Okay. Asexual reproduction means the reproduction in which, or we must say the production of a new offspring without a new offspring of the same species without fusion of gametes, fertilization or without the fusion of gametes, fertilization or transfer of pollen grains. Okay, transfer of pollen grains between two individuals Okay, so thus we can say in such a type of reproduction, generally it is generally the new organism produced from the one parent only. Okay, so here we can say the production of a new offspring from the same species without the fusion of gametes, fertilization of or transfer of pollens between two individuals, means only one parent take part in this reproduction. Only one parent take part in it, take part in this reproduction. Okay, means thus we can say that the new offspring generates from the one parent only. Okay, and it is of the same species. Generally types of asexual reproduction are types. Here we will talk about the types. What are they? In this chapter we are going to talk about fission. Okay, regeneration, then binary fusion, fusion. Here we can say about the budding also, budding. Okay, fission, regeneration, budding, and the vegetative propagation in plants. Okay, fission, regeneration, and fragmentation also, fragmentation. Okay, as well as vegetative propagation, vegetative propagation. Okay, and then propagation of tissue culture. Okay, propagation by tissue culture. Okay, and what, pollen or spore formation. Okay, by spore formation. So asexual reproduction generally takes place by the different methods: fission or regeneration. Okay, fission, regeneration, budding, fragmentation, vegetative propagation, and propagation by tissue culture, and spore formation. First of all, we will talk about fission. Fission means when the organism divides into two equal parts. Okay, we will talk about fission. Okay, so first of all, we are going to talk about fission. First asexual reproduction method is fission. Okay, fission means the splitting of unicellular organisms into two or many equal parts. Okay, let me write here. Fission means the splitting of an unicellular organism into two or many parts. Okay, now it is of two type. Generally this fission is of two type. What are they? Binary fission, okay, and multiple fission. Next is multiple fission. Okay, so first of all we will talk about binary fission. Here we are going to talk about binary fission first. Binary fission. What happens in binary fission? When an unicellular organisms divides into two equal daughter cells, then these daughter cells grow into the new organism. Okay, so here binary fission means in the binary fission, the unicellular organism divides into two equal daughter cells. Okay, and then these two daughter cells grow into the new organism. These daughter cells grow into the new organism. Okay, so example of it are amoeba and paramecium. Amoeba and paramecium. Okay, let me explain you it with diagram. Okay, what happens here we can see in the diagram, it's an amoeba. Okay, is that structure of amoeba, its nucleus, and this is amoeba. Okay, then when this nucleus divides, then it divides into two equal parts and forms two equal daughter cells. Here we can see that it's dividing, it gets elongated, dividing into two parts. Okay, here we can see that this nucleus is dividing. Okay, this is the B diagram. Then it totally converts into two equal daughter cells. Here I must mention, okay, it's the part, it's dividing, and here I must mention nucleus. Here we can see nucleus is dividing, and here we can see two nucleuses are there, and then it completely divides and then form two daughter cells, or they form new organism. Okay, fine. So this is the formation of new organism from the daughter cell. Here we can make little changes. Let me mention. Okay, so this is the binary fission in the amoeba. Okay, now we will talk about multiple fission. Multiple fission. Next is multiple fission. What happens in multiple fission? As the name itself defines, multiple fission means it is means organism is splitting, but it is splitting in many parts. Okay, so here multiple fission, what happens in this fission? In this fission, organism divides and form many daughter cells. Okay, and these daughter cells are of equal size. So let me explain you my diagram. Okay, here we can see that the cytoplasm, okay, its nucleus, this organism divides, okay, its nucleus, okay, it divides means this nucleus divides and forms many daughter cells inside. Let me draw it. Okay, daughter cells are of equal size. N number of okay, these are daughter cells. They have nucleus inside them with daughter nuclei. Okay, these are daughter cells. Okay, and when this wall get burst, then these nucleus come outside. Okay, next is, this is the cytoplasm and its wall of cytoplasm, okay. Now what happens? These daughter cells move outside. Daughter nuclei, okay. So this is all about the multiple fission, but in multiple fission the organism divides into many equal daughter cells, means nucleus divides and form many daughter nuclei. Okay, now we will talk about the difference between binary fission and multiple fission. Yes, so difference between binary fission and multiple fission is, binary fission and multiple. Okay. In binary fission, generally it forms two daughter cells, but in the multiple fission, when the nucleus divides, it forms many daughter cells. Okay, it produces two daughter cells. It produces two daughter cells which are equal. Okay, in multiple fission, it produces many daughter cells. In the binary fission, generally nucleus divides only once, but in the multiple fission, nucleus divides once and then it keeps repeating the division. Okay, so let me mention here, nucleus of the cell divides only once to form two nuclei, whereas in the multiple fission, nucleus goes with repeated division to form many daughter nuclei. Okay, and in the binary fission, generally cytoplasm divides equally into the daughter cells, but what happens in the multiple fission, cytoplasm does not divide. Okay, the another feature is cytoplasm divides, the cytoplasm divides after nuclear division. Here cytoplasm does not divide. Cytoplasm does not divide after nuclear division. Okay. So these are the main differences between binary fission and multiple fission. Now we will talk about the next parts of the asexual reproduction. What are they? Regeneration and budding. Okay. So here we talked about binary fission and multiple fission. Now we will talk about fragmentation and regeneration. Next is fragmentation. Fragmentation. What is fragmentation? Actually what happens, some multicellular organisms are made up of simple body organization. Okay, generally they are made up of random collection of cells, okay, without differentiation of tissues and organs. So what happens, they divides into small pieces, and then they, in this way they produce the new organism. Okay, so these fragments in which they are divided, these small pieces are known as fragments, and the division means the way of reproduction is known as fragmentation. Okay, let me write. Some multicellular organisms are made of, or some multicellular organisms have simple body organization, okay, they are made up of a random collection of cells, without differentiation, of tissues and organs. Okay, they divide into small parts they divide into small pieces. Okay, each piece is known as fragment. Each piece of body is known as fragment, and the mode of reproduction is known as fragmentation, and the mode of reproduction is known as fragmentation. Okay, when they divide in small pieces, then each small piece generate or produce a new organism, or we can say from these fragments means small pieces of body, new organisms are developed. Okay, means each fragment grows into the new organism. So this is all about the fragmentation, means such kind of multicellular organisms in which you cannot define this is the tissue, that is particular organ, means their body is made up of random collection of cells. The body is not differentiated in the tissues or in the organ. Then such kind of organisms divide into pieces, and each piece convert or grows into the new organism. Those pieces are known as fragments, and the mode of reproduction is known as fragmentation. Okay, so this is all about the fragmentation. Now we will talk about regeneration. As the name itself defines, regeneration means something is generating again. Okay, so in such kind of reproduction, what happens actually, when an organism has lost any part of the body, then it regenerates or get it back. That method is known as regeneration. Okay, so let me mention here regeneration. Okay, in such process, the organism gets its body parts, its lost body part again. Okay, means it develops the particular organ again, okay, at the particular place. For example, some lizards, once they lose their tail, then they can regenerate it. Okay, so this is the example of what? Regeneration. So in this lecture we studied about the reproduction, the modes of reproduction, and we studied about the asexual reproduction and its different parts like fission and fragmentation and regeneration. Hope you understand it. Thank you.